What's up, guys? It's Jason McLaughlin here. Welcome back to another informative video, I like to call them, but you guys can be the judge of that. So we're going to dive straight into it. The POPI Act, the POPIA Act, whatever the hell you want to call it, has been one of those things that are on all of South African business owners' minds at the moment. How do we implement? What do we do? How does it affect us? Oh my word, these fines, it is crazy. And I decided to get some experts on board. So today with us, we have Enes Esmeraldo and Leanne Webster. Enes actually has a law firm that specializes in the POPI Act and helping people implement changes that need to do that. And Leanne Webster, who's also with us, is a virtual assistant that helps business owners implement that. So we're going to be running through a few questions of common questions that business owners have and how best to go about it. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get them in here. Enes, how are you? Leanne, how are you guys?
I'm good. Hi, how are you?
Good. Let's start off with maybe Enes there. Enes, can you tell us a little bit about your company, what you do, how you do it, and how it relates to POPI currently?
Well, no matter whether you're a law firm or a business, you have to comply with POPI. So I specialize in POPI as well as various other factors of law, contract law, interpretations of the law. And I pretty much dumb it down for everybody to understand it in plain, simple English. You know,
that's what us business owners need. Hey,
yeah, exactly.
So, and this was actually in a car accident this morning. Yeah, so I can only imagine how you're feeling. Leanne, and can you tell us a bit about what you do? You're a virtual assistant. That's a very popular field at the moment.
Yes.
And you've been helping companies like crazy, all this scatterbrained business owners out there trying to implement these crazy changes that need to be implementing. So yeah, could you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. Thank you for having me. I am Leanne Webster, virtual assistant. I help with companies with executive admin and stuff. And I was fortunate having Enes do my POPI compliance and everything. And I know there was a couple of stuff that I could assist people with. So I went out and just said, who needs help? Let me see how much I can help you with. And if not, I suggest you speak to a lawyer. So that's kind of where
Awesome.
I was at.
All right, cool. So I actually reached out to a freelancers group in South Africa, and I got a whole bunch of questions in from digital people, because that's what I kind of specialize in, wanting to know what the hell is going on. So I think maybe let's start off with what POPI is and how it affects the online business world. Or actually, let's just start off with what POPI is and how's it affecting, the small mom and pop shop business out there right now?
Look, my personal opinion of the POPI Act is I'm glad that it's in place, don't get me wrong. But for the small businesses, it should be more leeway because a lot of the stuff is a bit unnecessary, and it's requiring you to put protective safeguard measures electronically on all your devices, make sure that you're protecting people's information. So it puts all the burden on the business owner themselves. They can't plead ignorance, unfortunately. It's a tough thing out there. It's not as clear-cut as you'd like to be. Personally, there's a lot of gray areas. That's why you have someone like me who you can bypass them. But the whole point of POPI is your client's information have to be protected, as well as your third party. Anyone that you've got their personal details have to be protected. Okay, how you store it, how you process it.
All right, cool. Awesome. All right, cool. Guys, if you want to ask us any questions throughout this live stream, just enable StreamYard on your browser and you'll be able to type and I'll pull up the questions and ask. However, I will be getting into some of the questions now. So just to clarify that, I know nothing about POPI. It's basically protection of people's information not to be used for marketing purposes, because that's what people are understanding mainly. Is that what you're saying? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's maybe get into some of these questions over here that I have from some of the small business owners. What does the Act say with regards to someone using WhatsApp numbers available on their page to invite them to visit a BNI meeting? Does that make any sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, first of all, there's a difference between collecting and processing information. So collecting is if your details are on a public platform, if you're in a public chat group, whatever the case may be, you are voluntarily giving out your information out there. Okay, so that's just the first thing. We also have to identify what personal information is. It's in isolation, so they can just have your number. They don't need to know your name and number, but when the person makes contact with you, they should tell you where they got your information from.
All right, cool. So to maybe understand a bit better, if I'm in a WhatsApp group, because I've been on a lot of WhatsApp groups that have been getting this message that says, by staying on this group, you are consenting to us using your info, or could you maybe explain a bit about that? I don't know if you've seen that message. Have you perhaps seen a message like that before?
Yes, okay. I have. Obviously, for purposes of only the members, your details are put in there. But that WhatsApp group, technically, I know it sounds very ridiculous, but technically it's supposed to have a privacy policy, procedures, basically saying what the members' information may be used for. Is it only for this WhatsApp group, or is it now you can do what you want? I mean, I've got millions of WhatsApp groups, so I can't control what members do, but it has to be brought to the attention of the members in the chat group that they are actually allowing all the other members access to their details, which is their telephone number.
All right. Okay. 100%. So one of the questions that I know I've been getting a lot is, are we allowed to cold call, and are we allowed to cold email? And I know you just said something about that if I can get hold of your email address on the internet, I'm allowed to reach out to you. Is that true? What's that about? Because I'm still getting weird phone calls from companies.
Okay, so one of the provisions, if any of you have gone through the POPI Act, there is 8 conditions. Now, in all these conditions that you have to comply with, most common sort of features that allow you a scapegoat is if the person has given consent, or if it's on a public platform. So if your name happens to be appearing from something from 19 Futsak on a website where you made a comment, then your information's out there. And now it's very difficult because there's things from 10, 20 years ago that I've probably signed up to that I've completely forgot about, but it's somewhere out there. That's just unfortunate. That's why, yes, it's a gray area, cold calling. But when you get that cold calling, the person who's giving that call must say where they got that information from.
All right, cool. So I think leading on to that type of question, what do you do with your emailing list? Are you allowed to still email them? Do you have to ask for that re-opt-in? Because I know, well, in my field especially, and Leanne, you could probably also testify to this, that the guys have a lot of email lists, or a lot of emails that they want to obviously do marketing to and stuff. So are we allowed to carry on marketing, or do we have to ask for a re-opt-in after the POPI Act? Did that affect anything like that?
Well, you would have to obviously, if nothing has changed, when they've signed up to receive marketing, where they've ticked, I assume you're talking about where they say, I agree to receive marketing materials, pretty much that is still in place. Obviously, you know, when you start dealing with them individually, I assume and this is me now, unfortunately, being the attorney part of me, obviously people don't read your terms and conditions in terms of direct marketing. So it really depends what is stated in that I accept direct marketing and who the third parties are that are going to get access to it. So that's the only thing that's going to change. And if it's changed, then unfortunately you have to re-ask them because your conditions for use have changed.
All right, 100%. And that's obviously something you're busy helping so many businesses with, and Leanne at the moment, is just trying to get that all implemented and stuff. Sure. Okay. Another question we've been getting is, must documents be locked away?
Yes. I know it sounds ridiculous. We're all moving towards a electronic, and I'm not an IT person. We're all working through the internet. So yes, if you've got physical documents, they deal with the safeguarding and protection. So you need to have a sealed cabinet. You need to literally explain how you're protecting these documents. And the same would apply to obviously your electronic. So you've got, yes, a cloud system, but your physical laptop is actually a document, if that's just in layman terms. So is there an alarm system where your laptops or computers are being stored? What security measures do you have from hacking? All those things. So it's it's implementing. And then when you no longer need those physical hard copies of printed documents, technically you need to destroy it. That means you need a shredder to get rid of it.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah. But there is loopholes.
Wow.
I'm just stating what it says in the Act. But
I think a lot of the South African business owners, and it's part of the reason that interested me to have you on, is because you know the loopholes. And guys, if you're interested, I'll be leaving her link down below. You can get hold of her, and you can talk about the best practices, South African way to get through this change. So another question we've been getting, and I think this is one of the most important. All right, I am a small mom and pop shop, right? I sell, okay, I don't even want to label the business. I have a website, let's say, and I have social platforms and I have an email list. What steps, if you had to say 3 steps, would be, other than contacting you to help them, to get them POPI aligned? How would a basic small business get POPI aligned in a very brief format?
Okay, I would rather break it down in 8 steps. Okay, so first, understanding the POPI. For example, what is personal information? So if you've got a website, obviously different information is being captured through your browser. If you've got documents, different information you're asking. Your next step is, obviously, if you understand POPI, you have to, if you're a mom and pop shop, you have to then register as an information officer. And now that is literally the person that deals with the information regulator. Okay.
Okay.
You have to understand how POPI will affect your business. Now, I've had this discussion with many people. I'm not saying it's wrong to get templates, but each business is different and unique. And that's where the loopholes and the gray areas come in. Okay, so you need to understand. I can guarantee 80% of people are technically POPI compliant. They just got a few tweaks. So they would have to do something I call the POPI gap analysis, which is looking at what they're complying with and what they don't. And most of the time, it would be just your risk assessment, which is checking your security measures, which would be your antiviruses, which would be checking if you've got a website.
SSL certificates, all that is data safe from.
Yeah. And then just updating your policies and documents. And then literally it's always going to change, because we all know that information technology, there's always a new ransomware. There's something might work for your business that doesn't work for someone else, etc. So it's trial and error. So it's literally just getting an information officer registered, getting the correct policies. If you've got a website, make sure you've got a privacy policy and you've got a terms of use, and that you've got an SSL certificate, which I'm sure.
And is that something, the terms and conditions and stuff, is that something that you've obviously used Leanne for, and that you guys specialize in and get implementing and getting up and running? Okay.
Let's just break it down. Your website is a step, although you're the same business, it's collecting different information. So if you've got a normal business where you send your clients documents to sign, you're getting different information a different way. So you will have something called a contract, which is your terms and conditions for your service. Then you will have, obviously, the privacy policy of how you're going to protect that information that you collected through the contract. Does that make sense? Now we go to your website. We just changed the terminology a little bit different. Privacy policy is exactly the same, but different information's been captured. Terms of use is using this website. What's there, what you're going to do with the information. So that's pretty much in a nutshell where you have to focus is your security measures, your SSL certificate for your website terms and conditions, which is your terms of use, your privacy policy, and then for your business where you deal directly with your clients is your contracts and your privacy policy.
100%. So I'm sure there's a few web developers that are going to see this in the freelance group. Get in the business of selling SSL certificates to Ennis over here and Leanne. You guys are going to be needing a lot of those, it sounds like.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, there's a few other ones here, but I also want to kind of leave it for the people to reach out to you and like email you directly and find out. I think one I'd like to ask is, what needs to change in the employer's contracts? Is there anything that needs to change regarding that?
Yes. When I speak to people, I say individuals, personal information, and everyone always associates, especially business owners, associates clients' information. But remember what I said is any information that you're getting from someone, whether it's your employees, your third-party suppliers, whatever the case may be, you are getting information. So you need to follow POPIA. So in other words, in your employment contract, it needs to be amended to literally state that the employee is consenting for you to keep their personal information. And you need to inform them of how you are going to protect their personal information, such as their bank account, their name, etc.
100%. Okay. And I think the one question to end off that's burning South Africans are burning to ask it is, what are the fine implications of this? And perhaps do you think there's maybe another agenda? Leanne can also jump in here and talk, because I know I've been chatting to you guys a bit, and I'm South African and it's going crazy at the moment. So what's happening?
Okay.
Do you think there's another agenda here? Okay, let's start off with the fines, the logistics, and then we'll jump into opinion.
Okay, so I will categorize it in two separate categories. So one is you knew it was wrong. In other words, you knew that you had to have a privacy policy, security measures, etc., but you still didn't comply with POPI. So that is intentional. There you are looking up to 10 million Rand fine or 10 years in jail, or both. Obviously, the Act has certain, specifics and criteria on how you get these kind of fines. But remember, those fines go to government. It don't go to your personal information that's been leaked or been incorrectly used. The other aspect is that the person whose information has been incorrectly being used or not, and you've not been in compliance with your own privacy policy, they can sue you. And I'm sure you've watched a lot of Judge Judy, but you're going to end up doing that kind of stuff. People are going to make this an income stream. Okay, they're going to sit and scrutinize and see how they can make money off this. So they're going to sue you. So not only will you have to pay government in terms of fine or end up in jail, you will be looking at damages, and you can potentially lose customers and employees, because if you're not compliant or the information regulator asks you that you need to advertise that your company had a security breach, you can see the implications when I'm talking about you can lose customers. Any bad publicity, they say is good publicity, but in this case, it's not going to be good publicity. Then the second aspect is an oopsie, I didn't realize it was wrong. Let me just call it the legal term's negligence, but let's say an oopsie, you are still looking at imprisonment. Yes, it's not exceeding 12 months, but you can be imprisoned. But we are in South Africa and it's overcrowding. I would like to believe that they will prefer to give you a fine, but that is a possibility, is imprisonment, a fine, or both. The fine obviously will be less because you didn't intentionally do it. So whether you like it or not, whether you agree to how strict they asking you to be in your way of dealing with information, this is the reality. And I will let Leanne pop in.
Yeah, I think so. So Leanne, basically, what I know about the legal system is that lawyers, aka Enes Esmeralda, aren't allowed to say certain things against the laws or constitution or whatever we have here. So Leanne, like you've obviously helped a whole lot of businesses, right? And you've helped in implementing all this stuff, and you've literally been in the trenches with this. What would you say is the number one biggest like rumor? You know, as South Africans, it's like, oh, I was at a braai and my brother's mother's sister's auntie's dog told me that he knows a guy in the army that told me this about POPI. Like, are there any like big rumors that have been floating around that you've heard that you know that's total rubbish, garbage, or?
Yeah, well, maybe not rumors. Some people have asked, are they really going to come after small business owners? Well, I'd like to think not, because we're small, and any fine would basically
of the economy
us
at the moment. Yeah.
Yes. At the same time as who knows what they do or who knows who they go after. I would prefer them to go after the bigger corporates, because they've been doing this violation for how many years as it is, just randomly calling us up and just asking us if we want to do stuff. Like, you know, the DA will ask you if you want to vote for them this year, for instance. Not allowed to do that. And so, yeah, I hope they don't really go after small business owners, but we can't be sure at the same time. And when Inez let me know about POPI, I was like, oh, shit. This is crap. I need to move on this. I need to make sure that I'm POPI compliant, because I can't afford a 10 million rand fine, and I definitely ain't going to go to jail for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So could you maybe tell us a bit about like what you exactly implement for these small businesses when it comes to POPI? Guys, I'll also be leaving Leanne's link down below. She's a really kick-ass VA. I've actually been recommending her to my overseas guys that come to me for some work, but I don't have time for them. Leanne is like the go-to VA at the moment. Well, hopefully forever, Leanne.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can you tell me a bit more about that?
So I have literally just spoken to people, and I'm like, what are you doing? What is your business? Okay, you have a security company, right? You obviously have a website. You need certain things. Like for my business, I have to have an IT managed company that checks in once a month, make sure my antivirus is up to date, make sure that I have firewalls and, you know, all that IT extra back-end things that like deeper down that I'm not that great at. So I've just given literally just free advice to say you need your website, your managed IT company. If you have staff, you obviously need to relook at their contracts and implement a POPI part to say that you're not going to disperse their information, any third parties, literally just the basics of it, because some of the people don't do what I do. So I can't give them all the information. You know, and then I say to them, I suggest you speak to a lawyer that is going to educate you and not just charge you to fix the problem, because you're not knowing what the problem is or what you're at risk at isn't going to help you in the long run. You know, make sure you go to like a webinar on POPI, which Inez has been doing for free and doing absolutely amazing at, like really giving a lot of education to people. So I've just told people, you know, there's a free webinar you're welcome to go to, Inez. You don't have to use the work, but understand what POPI is, because it's a big chunk of what your business is at this point, unfortunately for us business owners.
Yeah, 100%. Sure. I think I've got a lot to think about. I need to go update my T's and C's and all that. And I'll probably be having more chats with you ladies soon. I know I've been getting a lot of questions from other industries as well, so I'd love to have you guys on again to chat about that. But guys, I think we're going to cut it there. We are already 25 minutes in. Thank you so much for joining me today and helping educate business owners here in South Africa. Guys, if you have any questions, Leanne and Ennis are your girls. Click their links below. Go grab their stuff, book calls with them. And yeah, please, we do not need to give the government any more money as far as I'm personally concerned.
I second that.
I kind of think this may be like another agenda to start getting more money out of us somehow. So I hope everyone stays safe. Cheers, guys. Bye. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.